Hey everyone, I'm Dan Johnson, software engineer at Protegrity, and today I'm going to show you how to make your first Protegrity AI Developer Edition Protect and Unprotect API call. Alright, so first we're going to go to protegrity.com, and then we're going to go to the Developers dropdown on the right, and then go over to the Protegrity AI Developer Edition there, and the page is going to load. Alright, we've already done a few videos on how to access the GitHub repository and install everything locally, but we're going to show you how to use the Jupyter Notebook so you can just do it fast, all in the browser, no problem. Just go ahead and scroll down here. We're going to be looking for our encrypt, tokenize, and mask sensitive data inline. All right, so as we can see, what's happening, all right, we're sending a bunch of text with a ton of PII, first name, social, location, email, etc. And then we're going to be protecting it. And then as we can see, it's protected, right? But we're maintaining the utility. So 3 letters for Dan, 3 letters in the protection, same thing for the social and the phone and the email. All right, so let's actually go ahead and click it and launch the notebook and get started. So as this gets going, feel free to go and play with the sample apps, download them and run them locally. There's a lot of utility there as well. But this binder in particular is just gonna actually give you that 1, 2, 3, right? Protect and unprotect as fast as possible without having to do any set type of configuration or setup. All right, so as we can see, quick get started, right? This is a notebook for Protegrity AI Developer Edition with the Python SDK. We're releasing a Java SDK as well. You learn how to authenticate, create a protection binder, and then actually apply that protection and unprotect. All right, so we can just start here with installing the dependencies. Just click the code block and press the play. SDK is already installed from the binder initialization. And then we can either get our credentials here, or we can go ahead and actually run this code block, and you'll see our credential input pops up here, and we can click and get our API credentials here. So we'll just go ahead and click this one. All right, and then once this page loads, we'll be able to put in our first name, last name, and email, and then we're gonna get those API credentials directly to our email so we can just keep going with the notebook. All right, so we'll just put our stuff in here. United States, California, and then check this. All right, so once we click this get started, this form is going to be submitted. On the back end, our API credentials are going to be created and they'll be sent to our email. So that might take 3 or 4 minutes, but once you get it, it'll be right in your email and you'll be able to see it as your password as well as your API key. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the notebook and enter what came to our email. Start with our email. And then our password, let me just go to my email really quick. Gonna copy and paste the password as well as the API key. All right, and then we can save those credentials. As we can see, the credentials now saved the session. So now we're authenticated and we can actually call the API. Perfect. All right, let's do our first protect and unprotect call. So what does that look like? So we're gonna initialize the protector. We're gonna set our user to be a super user, right? So we're gonna enforce that policy. We have our name as our data element, and you can see our data is a name, John Smith. So we're gonna, again, create that protector session. We're gonna protect the data. We'll print out what it looks like protected, and then we'll actually unprotect it and print out what it looks like unprotected. So we can go ahead and give that a run. It might take a couple seconds here, and we can see, just like that, we have our protected data, and then we have our unprotected data, no problem at all. And then if we were to change our user, instead of a super user to be standard, right, different policy, this should not work. So we'll give that a go. And as we can see, this user does not have the appropriate permissions to perform the requested operation. So just like that, we're able to flip-flop between the super user who has access to unprotect that data versus a user who does not. So we'll go ahead and put this back to super user and just run it again to clear out. All right, so now we can try a couple different data elements, right? Before we were just using the name. Now let's go ahead and do a credit card number. So all we have to do is click it and run the code block. And again, we can see we protected this credit card information, but it maintains persistent format, right? So we can still use it. We're still saving the utility of the data and we can use it in our workflows, but we're not exposing any raw PII. All right, and then we can kind of go one step further and we can do bulk protection, right? Let's say you're running large arrays of credit card numbers and you need to protect it, but maintain that utility. So go ahead, exact same thing, session protect, session unprotect, and we're just passing an array this time. Same data element being the credit card number. All right, and right there we can see it. We were able to protect the whole array and then unprotect the whole array. All right, so that's basically it. We just made our first protect and unprotect calls using the Protegrity AI Developer Edition. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, we can have a couple next steps, right? So we can go view the docs, no problem, or we can actually go back to the Protegrity website, or we can go to the GitHub. So let's actually go ahead and go back to the Protegrity website. We'll just go ahead and click this one. All right, and then we'll go right to the GitHub just to show you. Like I said before, we have a whole sample folder application right here. So there's a bunch of different stuff you can do. Protect and unprotect, this is the one we just did, but we can do it all locally on our machine if you want to try. So if you want to give it a shot, feel free to download the GitHub repository, clone it, feel free to watch some of the other tutorials, and thanks for watching.